we go, everyone. It's that time. Golf WRX, Wisdom in Golf, Golf's Perfect Imperfections.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for tuning in and watching.
Yes. So we got some results from the first long drive competition in Mesquite, Nevada. Mm-hmm. And Sav came out pretty good. Pretty gosh darn good.
Yeah, I ended up tied for fifth. I'm pretty sure from the consensus that we've gotten, that's what the result is for fifth to eighth place.
Right.
Because we started off with a round robin. We were 16 girls. We had a round robin, 5 sets each, and in each set you compete against different ladies. For a win, you get 200 points. For a second place, you get 100. Third is 50, and fourth is 25. So at the end of the round robin, you essentially need enough points to make it into the top 8, and then you move on. I was 8th, and then I got matched up against Phyllis Meddy in my first match play. And from then on in, it's knockout rounds. So
yeah, that's a match play they set up for the TV. So once people get set up, it's going to be pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, needless to say, that was a tough matchup for me, but it was...
you were going pretty good until she uncorked one at 360.
No, 372.
372.
Yeah. So
Phyllis is a real competitor. She's a world champion.
Yeah, she's a world champ, and it was honestly just like an honor to be up there on the tee box with her. So, and she's a great girl. So it was just a lot of fun, and I had no expectations going into that round. I was just like, okay, let's just do what you can and have fun, and maybe.
Sav's a little humble right now, but what she did on the way over there was nothing short of spectacular, because. Not only do you went up against a couple of girls that you've been intimidated by and beat them head to head, and you've had several drives over 320 yards.
Yep. In
which one was 337.
Yeah, so a new PB, 337, and it was cool because that was in my third set, and I had a back-to-back set between the second and third, so. That 337 was my first drive in that third set, and I think it gave me kind of a little advantage because I was kind of in the flow of things already. And there was no break in between my second and third set. It was just I stayed up on the tee box and just went to the next slot. So,
well, it's an advantage if things are going well. Mm-hmm. If things are not going well, you don't want that. You want to be able to get out of there, reset, and come back. Yeah. But because you're so consistent, and, one of the... You look at you're putting on average 4 balls in the grid.
Yeah, 4 out of 6 balls in the grid are.
And your misses are 295, and when you're nutting them, they're 320 plus.
Yeah, I think all of my balls would have been over 300, but obviously, when you get into competition, you have the nerves, you have the adrenaline, and if you mishit it. With the adrenaline and the nerves at the same time, it's not, it doesn't really work out that well. But, there's no other way of simulating those feelings of adrenaline.
Yeah, the stress that you experience there it's hard to.
That's it. That's why people travel great lengths to get into competitions like that, because it's irreplaceable. It's, it's priceless.
Yeah. I wouldn't have been able to do it without because, he had my back the whole way. And even after my first set, I was so...
She was very tense and she wasn't breathing properly. And you can tell that the whole situation was compromising her performance bit. So told her to forget about that whole set. It's like, everyone's feeling the same thing she was feeling at the time. Even the guys too in the open division. Yeah. You could see it in the feed too. Some guys are very nervous.
Yeah, first event of the year, right?
Because we've been out of competition for like 5 months.
That's it.
So
it's like first tee jitters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think everybody had that, and so knowing that everybody else was feeling that too. I mean, some of the girls when I was walking, because I think I was the 4th out of 4 sets in that first round. So everybody else had gone up before, like, my group. And the poor girls walking back, they're just like, okay, here we go. At least that one's out of the way.
Yeah, that's it.
So, yeah. But, Yeah, so PB won a set.
That's it.
I've been wanting to win a set since last year, so that was a big
Sav
win for me.
won. You actually won a set in World Long Drive. How good is that? I mean,
it's like the little wins, right?
You bet.
So,
and the next event is in Hope Sound, and I'm going to be reaching out to all of our Florida students. Sav and Moo are going to be putting on a cool clinic during that week, the day prior, and we're going to be doing it at one of my buddies' new facility. And a shout out to Claremont National, Jimmy Stewart and his son just opened up. The place looks like amazing. It's a big top tracer range. And, you guys understand how much we believe in that product. I mean, we had a great experience in one of my clinics when we went to the Orlando PGA show.
The high
so
tea.
it is really an accurate product. If you guys have never been to a top tracer range, find one near you and get over there and realize that it is all camera based. So it's going to, track your ball from beginning to end. If you've got a strong wind in the face, it'll track that too. So, expect to hit shorter when you got the wind in the face and longer when you got a tailwind. So it's, but the yardages have been spot on. From our experience, we're, obviously you're limited by the golf balls that are out there as well, right? I mean, you need a pretty decent quality golf ball if you're going to make a proper measurement. But Jimmy's got this amazing place over there. Claremont is CLERMONT, Claremont National. So check it out online. And so if you're in the Orlando area, that's where Sav and Moo are going to be on Thursday, April 13th.
Correct, yeah.
Is the date. And then from there, they're going to be hightailing it down to Hope Sound. So we got direct flights here from Quebec City to Orlando, which is great.
Yeah, it's really nice.
And then you guys will have 3 days of high adrenaline junkie, vibes.
Yeah, I think like the men's division you have what, 64 now?
So they upped it to 64. Before it was the first event was a lot lighter in terms of.
It was 48 before,
it was 48
right?
before. So they're seeing a high demand of players wanting just to compete, and they're trying their best to kind of manage the time because time constraints are pretty tough, especially for these events. And,
so you guys are Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah, so it's going to be a 3-day.
And it starts at Friday, like 8 in the morning. So the warm-up's at 7 a.m. for these guys.
Yeah, you got to.
Depends on the group that you get.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's 4 groups. Hopefully you don't get the earliest group because that's what you always get.
Well, that's because I was a rookie last year.
That's it.
I think
that's what the rookies get.
Yeah,
maybe you'll get shuffled around.
I think it should be a draw. Honestly.
Well, they probably do.
There should be a draw, like on the PGA Tour. And
that's what they do because it's different at every event. Like you've gotten a couple of morning groups, and you've gotten a couple of afternoons. So it switches around.
At least the advantage is, even though you may have an early draw, or a late draw, it doesn't matter because you're actually competing against the guys you're with at the moment.
Right.
You won't be competing against guys from, other time slots. As far as distance is concerned, it's a mano, and that makes it fair.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes it fair.
Yeah, so you guys are all 3 days, and then women's division is from 12 to 2 on the Sunday. And then, so that's going to be the round robin. And then they're doing the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals at 5.
Is it lit over there?
It stays a lot lighter for a lot longer.
Yeah,
but
is the grid lit?
No,
unfortunately, no. But the sun does stay a lot longer during the day, so they'll
have enough time.
Have more wiggle room.
Yeah,
compared to Mesquite, where
and when's the men's final going to be?
Right after the women's.
Okay,
on Sunday. So 5 o'clock, which is interesting.
That is interesting.
It's pretty late.
Well, okay. So what happens is all the guys who've made it to the top 16 compete from 2 to 4. So that's right after the women's.
Yeah.
And they do like their round robin top 16 thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
it's top 8.
And then from 5 to 6:30 is women's division quarterfinal, semifinal, final, and the men's quarterfinal, semifinal, finals.
Okay.
Because those ones don't take long.
Right.
Since they're the match play.
Also, they're probably preparing for like a TV event. Like once everything's done, they'll have them.
And they have a junior division this time.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. They have four girls, 4 boys from 4:30 to 4:45. So a little 15 minutes for the
that's
juniors.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You got to make way for the juniors.
Yeah. Little intermission.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's a schedule for that. But
man, it's gonna be busy.
Yeah. But then I just wanted to also shout out Monica Living. She won in Mesquite. And
congrats, Monica.
Yeah, she's been a good friend of mine on the circuit, so she deserves a shout out.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
She's a beast.
She's a beast.
And like the sweetest girl ever, so she deserves it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It's a nice family out there. I mean, I'm stoked for you guys.
Yeah, everyone's so nice.
So Sav, you got to tell us about your experience today. You just had your first experience with the Catalyst suit.
Yeah. Let's just say I filmed the experience for my YouTube channel, and y'all are going to get a little laugh out of that.
You had the same yelps as I did in mine, right? It's like, is it because we're wimps, Moo? I mean, were you yelping like that too at first?
No, because
you were by yourself?
I was by myself, but like I had an idea of what it was going to be based off the therapy I've received from different physio sessions. Yeah. So in terms of understanding electrodes, it wasn't. It's a shock for me.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like it's a lot more intense than what you would normally experience.
But
it is.
When we were doing the setup, because you didn't go through that setup stage.
I did one setup.
Yeah, but so
I didn't do all 4.
Yeah, what I noticed is that the strength and the power settings are very different from anything that I've ever experienced. But the cardio and the recovery sets are more reminiscent of physio that like you and I have gotten. So it wasn't that different of an experience, but the strength and the power was intense. Something else.
The reason why I was using strength and power is because I've always had an issue with cramping, and it kind of simulates that tension. That tension you get when you get a bad cramp.
Yeah. Right.
So it's like, okay, I remember.
But without the pain. It's not painful.
Without the pain. That's it. Yeah, that's it. That's one disclaimer. There's no pain at all. But that contraction is like, oh yeah, I know this.
Yeah, I felt that before. That's what I started to feel like in my abs, and I was like, whoa, my abs are like fully like
lit
up, and like
that's exactly what it feels like. Is like your muscles light up.
It's 100% engagement. That's it.
Yeah.
And it's cool because as like directional athletes, like in golf, oftentimes we have imbalances in our bodies. Obviously, that's like a natural thing.
It's not often, it's always.
Yeah. So it'll be nice to kind of rebalance both sides of the body so that they're equal in strength and performance. Because even when I had the suit on and we were dialing up the suit, I was telling you, like, one side of my core, I could feel more of the electrodes than the other. And you were obviously saying, like, it's because of, like, little imbalances that you might have. And then especially with soccer, too, growing up, I mean, I was a right-footed player and obviously was very competent with my left foot, but it was favored, obviously, on the right side. Yeah. So, you know, a lifetime of being an elite-level athlete, you know, it's time to rebalance the machine a little bit.
Yeah, and you know, there's only so much that you can do. Even you look at super speed, and they tell you to really, you know, switch both sides. Yeah. And you'll see a lot of PGA Tour players warm up left-handed and then switch over and go right-handed. You know, you got to do the most you can to keep that body balanced. But this thing is on a whole other level. It does
the heavy lifting for you.
Exactly.
In a short amount of time. It's like to get that muscle engagement, you need to do like 5 sets to 12 reps to 20 reps to get that full
and that's
engagement.
it. And it's not like you can target. It's like everything lights up at once. How in the world are you going to do that in the gym? It's not possible.
Well, that's a time frame, right? It's like it usually takes you almost 2 hours to get that full engagement, that full muscle tear that you experience after taking the suit. Whereas you can get that in anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I found. I mean, it gradually goes up. So you're actually getting about 12 minutes of full intensity.
Yeah.
And there's a buildup of about, 6 to 8 minutes prior to that?
Yeah, and then you can mark it at the spot where you want to stay at for a bit. And then as the workout progresses, you can dial it up with the trainer.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's another function that I discovered the other day.
I mean, I'm going into workout number 6, and there's still so much to discover about the suit, right?
Yeah. So I did a power one last week, and I found that it was a full.
Yeah, it was a nice time lapse that you did on that power workout, right?
Yeah. It was pretty good. The results I felt from that were immense. Like, I was really sore, but what I found was that it corrected everything that I was feeling, like imbalances I was feeling within my anatomy. Like, my shoulder was, bugging out, my right shoulder, because I've been swinging and releasing pretty, I know, emphatically with the speed training.
Yeah.
All that got, corrected. The tightness is gone.
Wow.
And then I'm feeling my release come back again in a manner that is slingier, like a lot. So like the fast switch activation's starting to show right away from my own experience. So
that's huge, because the rotational aspect is through the rotator cuff and the shoulder.
Exactly.
And if that's all frozen up, and there is a study on frozen shoulder, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Yes. Yeah.
And so for those of you who struggle with frozen shoulder, or even, tendonitis, or golfer's elbow, I was noticing
it shoots through
shoots right through the whole arm.
Mine too. So mine
now
was really
I can see why that it's not necessary for the calf or the forearm.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it makes its way down there right through the elbow joint,
which is pretty cool. Yeah,
it is awesome. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, you don't need that much stimulation for the upper limbs and chest, which was something that I was confused at first, but now it makes sense to.
It is so well researched.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it really is. So, welcome to the club, Sav.
Yeah, I'm excited for Sav.
You should have heard her eeks. It was so funny. We were all howling.
I'm gonna upload the video tomorrow, so when this video goes up, my video will also be up Wednesday the 22nd.
Yeah, I can't wait to see after a month of this what's going to come out of it.
Yeah, Jeff is very excited.
In over 6 months, wow.
Yeah, 6 months is going to be something.
That's going to be something else.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm excited about. It's like I won't plateau in the whole process. Like, you can always dial up to a point where your muscles are still growing or still engaged, and they never become stagnant, right? And that's the part that you always want. You want to maintain your metabolism and maintain your muscle efficiency, and this suit would definitely maintain that, as long as you obviously keep up in the workouts, right? Mm-hmm. So maintaining at least 2 to 3 a week.
Yep.
Will be optimal.
Well, what I enjoyed last time is I was heading into workout number 2. I was going to wait an extra day because I was sore.
Yeah.
And Moose says, no, jump into the suit right now. It's going to help. It's going to flush out that lactic acid, and it's going to help you with that soreness. And lo and behold, the next morning, I was less sore. I was expecting to be a lot more sore.
Yeah.
Especially after that workout.
Yeah.
I'm going, I'm going to pay for this tomorrow. Thanks a lot, Moo. And then the next morning, I'm going, hey, Moo, thanks a lot. It was actually better.
Yeah, the interpretation of how muscle soreness is, it's like, don't realize like that soreness is also buildup of lactic acid. And by actually flushing it out is through working out again, which is, it sounds counterproductive, but that's how you manage it.
Again, the wealth of knowledge, from somebody who knows his way around the gym and has a kinesiology degree. So you guys are in great hands.
Yeah, your body's resilient. You'll be surprised how much more you can.
I believe in the human machine.
Yeah.
Especially, seeing how you guys have taken the ball and have run with it. I mean, it just this time last year, Sav, you were at 100 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now I just hit 116.
116. 100 miles an hour. Not too many girls on the LPGA can do 100 miles an hour. I mean, that's half the field won't get there.
Yeah.
So it's only the top players who are between 100 and 105.
Yeah.
And it's only when you get into long drive that you get 115 to 120. I think Phyllis last year was averaging at 118.
Right, so that's her baseline. I'm sure when she pushes
and Sav, you're rounding the corner right now.
I just have to get my ball speeds up a little bit because I have the speed in terms of swing speed now, but it's a matter of figuring out how to get that ball speed up because, like, I'm not that big of a person.
No doubt. I have no doubt.
No, I know, but I'm not that big of a person compared to the other girls who are producing those ball speeds, but I've been able to, maximize my other numbers and optimize them in a way that, is beneficial.
Yeah.
And gets me the yardages. And that's something that a lot of people have a hard time understanding and like just wrapping their heads around, because oftentimes or most times people are just associating distance with strictly club head speed and ball speed, which, yes, those are huge factors, but there's certain ways of optimizing those numbers to, produce the numbers that I'm producing or the yardages that I'm producing. And I have to constantly explain to people saying like, oh, that's impossible, blah, 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 stop, you're cheating, and your simulator is juiced up and stuff like that. So,
there's still a lot for people to learn because the market is evolving. I mean, you go back 10 years ago, and the simulators we had were like, I don't even want to talk about it.
Right,
it's ridiculous.
The technology
you think I hit a nice draw there, and you look up in the screen, and the thing's showing a big fade or a big slice, and you're going, just let me out of here.
Yeah.
Either give me some wings and beer, and and then we'll be on our way.
Yeah.
But now it's you look at all the tour players who have the Foresight product or the TrackMan product or the Flight Scope. They've all upped their game.
Yeah, the math has gone better.
That last PGA show, I mean, you look at the latest with Rapsodo.
Yeah.
Man, have they upped their game this year. There's been a lot of side-by-side comparisons with the Foresight product. I think the gold standard is still the Foresight product as far as what you're going to compare yourself around. But, we're here.
Yeah.
It's over. I mean, now you're really getting the proper information.
Yeah, and it's nice that I can also use that information to help explain to people
Yeah.
how I'm able to produce the yardages that I produce. And, AOA is a huge factor for me.
Well, you could have a ball speed of 175 miles an hour, 3,500 RPM.
And the ball's not going to go anywhere.
It's not going to go anywhere.
So, and that's what I have to constantly explain, which I'm happy to do to the people that are willing to, like, have a conversation.
Come on, people.
No, but it's true. Like, it's really frustrating sometimes when I try to explain why it is.
Yes.
And they just still choose to completely disregard it. But then there's some people who are like, okay, like, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
So, AOA is huge. And when I'm talking about AOA is huge, I'm talking my AOA is between 10 and 12 degrees up.
Angle of attack. That's not launch angle, people.
No.
That's
angle of attack is between
We're
10
in
and 12.
Double digit angle of attack.
So,
yeah, that's pretty steep.
Yeah, so, and even you were surprised at one point. You're like, holy Sav, your angle of attack is insane right now.
Yeah, like at 11 plus, it's like you might be needing like a 5 degree head at that point.
So
that's pretty.
Well, and now the launch angles are 20.
Yeah, so with my AOA being really high.
That's what I'm saying. Like we need like a 5 degree head or a 6 degree head, like just to kind of. But even then, you're still efficient with your numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, because the drivers now are so low spin when you nut them.
That's right.
And you hit them in the right place.
Yeah.
And even if you don't hit them in the right place, I mean, the mishits are way more forgiving now, especially on speed. On spin, I should say.
Spin, yeah. I'm very impressed with the way they're going with the faces, yeah.
And high face strikes tend to roll out a little more, which a lot of people don't realize either.
Oh, yeah.
It's like because it cuts the spin.
Exactly. I mean, from my own personal experience, and that's where, in the days before the launch monitors, they would talk about, hey, if you hit a little higher on the face, it'll go further. Mm-hmm. And it feels hollow, and it feels like the ball is not really compressing.
It doesn't feel good. Yeah.
It doesn't feel that great. Mm-hmm. And then you look up and you pace it off, and you get out there and you go, hey, that was like 320.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. It's like that's up there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the fact that I can get really high angle of attack.
Yep.
Very it launches a lot higher, and then the spins reduce because I'm launching it higher.
Yep.
So, you want enough spin so that it stays in the air.
Yep.
but not too much spin to where it just balloons.
Exactly.
And that's where that's the key factor. The difference between having like ridiculous ball speeds and club head speeds and having like shit other numbers. Do you know what I mean?
You can't say that on radio. See?
Well, I just so like if my numbers were, if my ball speeds and club head speeds were what they were now, but my spin was like 3,500, no, my ball's not going to carry that far. No. But I'm able to optimize in the right way because of your teaching and your teaching.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's just...
I remember not so long ago, the Ping G400 fairway woods were not very popular with the tour players. Because they were too spinny, and Ping was experimenting at the time where they said, okay, for lower speeds, lower club speeds, if we add more spin, the ball will stay in the air longer. Mm-hmm. And, it really backfired because
makes no sense.
It is way too much. I mean, I had 5,000 RPM. Between 4,000 and 5,000 RPM on my 3-wood. It was going nowhere.
Must have hit a 5-iron.
Well, exactly. My 3-iron was going same distance.
Right.
So, and that's why, so many contracts, they say, okay, you need 10 clubs of ours in your bag. And the vast majority of the Ping players at the time had tailor-made fairway woods because the tailor-mades had much lower spin.
Like 3,000.
Like the Sim 2s and those fairway woods. At one point, it was the M1s, I remember. So M1, M2, and then all of a sudden, everybody starts following suit. And then the G425s came out. They were way lower spin, and then we started smoking them through, 270, 280, and now everybody's really understanding. And that had a lot to do with today's launch monitors.
That's true,
right?
Yeah.
So then they were able to test with launch monitors and
confirm
with the GC Quad and the TrackMan, and now all of a sudden, whoa! Everybody changed their tune on spin.
Right,
huge.
Yeah. Spin is a huge factor,
yeah.
And they talk about it all the time in the live broadcast for Long Drive. They had Troy Mullins.
Yeah.
And Bobby in the booth doing the broadcast for the live feed, and
they're well versed in in ball trajectory and club head speed. So, and also shafts too. They also discuss about ball speeds, but also spin rates. The sweet spots. Between 1,500 RPMs to 21 RPMs.
Yeah.
And
a latest trend while we're on shafts.
Yeah.
You saw Martin.
Yeah,
Borgmeyer's shaft, right?
Yeah, the TPT shafts, yes.
The TPT shaft. Well, then a TPT makes a lot of different stiffnesses.
That's right.
But he's got a ladies flex.
Yeah, it's
a very flexible ladies flex.
A lot of guys had it.
And sorry to use the term ladies, but it's, that's how most people will be able to identify, just how flexible that is. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's a beefier shaft. It's a 48-inch shaft, and you got to time it.
Yeah.
But I found that extremely interesting, and that brings like the Autoflex shaft, which is a shaft that has that flimsy feel to it. Mm-hmm. So I remember in the day where Jason Zubak was out there, and he had it was over 48 inches at the time.
That's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a triple X shaft. Mm-hmm. Right? And that's not the X-rated stuff. It's the triple X stiffness in the shaft. I mean, it was like swinging an anvil at the end of a telephone pole.
Good God.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I took that in my hands. I go, I can't swing that.
Yeah, you feel ribs just pop and just
exactly. I feel like I'm going to pop some ribs and dislocate a shoulder trying to do that. Mm-hmm. And Jason Zubak is a beast.
Yeah, you got to be.
And that guy is really well put together, and it was really incredible to watch him, swing that club. So, and at the time, they were just breaking the 200-mile-per-hour ball speed barrier.
Right.
Just breaking it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a world record. I mean, Sports Science had did a thing on it, and there was this plexiglass that, hey, if he breaks that means he's exceeded 200-mile-per-hour ball speed.
Right, they measured the
and
tolerance.
he was able to do it, and
That's cool.
so they were able to scientifically measure that. So now it's like 230 miles an hour.
Yeah, 230 plus.
Yeah, so I did the math on that. So that's like a club head speed of 155 just about, based off the smash factor of 1.5.
1.5, yeah.
Yeah, so it's so like you can swing fast, be like, say you're 160, but if your efficiency is inadequate, you're not getting the ball completely. So it's
you're not transferring in all the energy, all the potential energy to it.
That's it. Yeah, and it takes a lot of training to kind of dial in the face compression, essentially.
That's why you guys want wisdom in golf, right? I mean, you take that sound, the soundness in that technique.
That's right.
And then you add speed training to it, and now we've got you guys, like fresh, like 4 years old. I'm 4 years old. That's awesome. And so one of the things that we were just having a nice discussion with the boys of Golf WRX this morning, at the match play, Hideki Matsuyama not only is experimenting with some new shafts, the new graphite design shafts. We try them at the show. They're phenomenal, really a nice shaft. I know Jamie Lett really digs them. I mean, he can't stop talking about them. He hits it so straight with those shafts.
Yeah, it's a very stable shaft. I felt it too at the show. It's really solid.
Very solid. And so Hideki is using a putter grip. It's a mid-size super stroke putter grip with the flat side on top. And I'm looking for his driver.
Just experimenting with it.
Yeah, and I remember Matt Fitzpatrick doing that. Mm-hmm. He had a putter grip on his driver shaft for a while, and people have been, you look at Bryson experimenting with the Jumbo Max and things like that. What's interesting about that is, it's kind of like a reminder. Right? So the club face awareness. If you got the putter grip on top at a certain way and your lead thumb can go straight on top. So I notice, that's right out of the gate as far as, having your grip get set the same way every time.
Okay.
And, I noticed that Hideki's trigger finger is not as formed.
Okay.
It's a little bit like Colin Morikawa's index finger. It's a lot more baseball-like,
Yeah,
it's not as refined as some other players. Mm-hmm. And so the bigger grip will work a certain way, and I think that because of the play in his hands, he's trying to experiment with different grips that are going to allow him to keep the same grip.
Right.
And not have to modify his grip.
That's interesting,
right? Mm-hmm. So, when I have a student who's 40 and who's just been playing for a few years, modifying the grip is actually no problem. But when you do and you play golf for a living, and your whole team depends on your performance,
right?
That's a different animal altogether.
It's a big ask.
So what you're going to do is you're going to try different grips to see which one can fit and mold to you.
And optimize your performance.
And optimize your performance with that. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where Hideki is moving in that direction because his grip, I would say, is a little suboptimal.
Okay.
You look at Sam Snead's grip. You look at Ben Hogan's grip. You look at Jack and Tiger's grip. There, if we look at the formation of that index finger and thumb on the trail hand, on the bottom hand, doesn't leave any room for play. That we call it that trigger finger, right, where the index finger is separated from the other fingers on the hand and leverage, and then the thumb comes alongside the grip, so that the grip doesn't make its way between the thumb and the index finger. So if you look at a baseball player grasping a baseball bat, the bat would fit, like the thumb and the index finger are basically like a fist. Instead of like if you were holding a pistol, right?
Yeah.
So where the index finger is separated and the thumb's alongside the pistol. So it's very it's interesting, and I think you look at what Matt Fitzpatrick's grip. He's got a very strong top hand, right, lead hand, and a very weak trail hand. So he tends to have both palms facing the ground in his grip. So he basically, he's kind of hinging his hands by dorsiflexing.
That's got to be a lot of tension.
Well, it depends on your own personal anatomy.
That's true, yeah. Yeah.
And so that's when a student comes to me, I really look at how their anatomy is formed and how much range of motion they have in their snuff boxes, right? Their anatomical snuff boxes, where you look at the way they're hinging their wrists. So it's a really cool way to, first and foremost, you look at the anatomy of how your arms, your wrists function, and then how you wrap your hands around the grip. And if you want to improve as a player and you don't depend on it for a living, I'm going to mess with your grip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And then you'll realize through the tasks that I put you through how efficient that grip can become. And there are so many other aspects that you do in daily life, like cutting a thick potato with a knife. I mean, knifing the grip. So if you guys want to see a really cool video on that, just go Knife the Grip, Sean Clement, on YouTube, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So there's our
speculation.
Our speculation
Yeah.
Of the week on that particular aspect. So I hope Brian and Ben appreciate that little tidbit.
Yeah.
So we hope you enjoyed the show, and we're looking forward to bringing you some really cool stuff. We're going to start talking Masters next week for sure.
Oh yeah, big time.
And so get ready for that. Everybody is getting geared up for that particular week. And we look forward to bringing you some of the inside stuff on that next week. All the best.
Take care.
Take care.